5 days ago, and things have changed, but we'll still do it anyway. Our man, Pat Ruffino, has a way too early XFL quarterback ranking. And if you see on the front cover, the first person is Brian Scott, who is now no longer with the Vegas Vipers. So we'll just put that here. So with the XFL season about 3 weeks away, it's time to break down everyone's favorite topic regarding all football quarterbacks, with Jordan Prommel brought in to oversee QB development. The XFL has already made some strides to ensure the proper development of their players at the sport's most important position. After much discussion with the staff of XFL News Hub, below are the top 16 QBs going into 2023 season. Number 16, Kevin Anderson, Arlington Renegades. While he may be considered a low man on the totem pole in Arlington, Kevin Anderson should not be counted out. Coming into his fourth pro league, AAF, CFL, TSL, and XFL 3.0, Anderson's 2001 season was underrated with the Spring League's Conquerors, where he split time with alt-league vet Brandon Silvers. Anderson would throw for 682 yards, 5 touchdowns. So he is number 16. Number 15, D'Eriq King, my DC Defenders. It took a minute, but King finally joined the Defenders after a quick stint with the Panthers. Ranks low on the list due to his erratic play as a passer and diminutive size. While he does have the potential, the recent acquisition of Jordan Ta'amu ensures that King won't see much of the field, barring injury or special packages for the DC Defenders in 2023. Jack Cohen, San Antonio Brahmas. Cohen was a late addition after Brahmas went after Jawan Pass and Anthony Russo. Despite being an afterthought, Cohen has the potential to be Brahmas' second string coming out of camp. Strong college career at Notre Dame and Wisconsin. Cohen was the odd man out in the QB room with the Colts that housed Sam Ehlinger, Matt Ryan, and Nick Foles. Maybe with Pass and Sinnett going into week 1, but definitely has a higher ceiling than Pass. Could lead further opportunities to develop in the XFL's second season. Drew Plitt, Arlington Renegades, surprise cut by the Bengals in 2022. Plitt would be neck and neck with Sloter as QB1 for the Arlington Renegades for QB1. While Sloter's experience outweighs Plitt, his youth and potential could easily make him a top 5 QB in the XFL. Plitt's lack of experience at the NFL level during camp is why he's not ranked higher. However, the more playing time he receives could change the outlook of his pro career. Number 12, Steven Montez, Seattle Sea Dragons. Montez and Plitt could be interchangeable at 13-14. However, Montez gets the nod due to experience and athleticism, while Montez and Plitt's college statistics, passing, are extremely similar. Montez' underrated rushing ability is what gives him the nod. Look for Montez to be utilized in a Taysom Hill capacity, potentially for the Seattle Sea Dragons in 2023. DeAndre Francois, Orlando Guardians. Francois is the highest riser or fall on this list in 2023. Despite his domination in fan control football, Francois' only opportunity as a pro in the outdoor game came with the Spring League, where he couldn't beat out Connor Keegi for consistent playing time. After starting out hot at FSU, Francois' inconsistent play ability at multiple schools and division leaves him with many question marks going into 2023. Regardless of what Francois lacks as a passer, he makes up for it in his running ability, which may be able to keep him and the Guardians competitive for 2023. Remember, lots have changed since this was written just a couple days ago, including Paxton Lynch coming on board for Orlando Guardians. Number 10, Cole McDonald, Houston Roughnecks. McDonald comes out at 10 due to a lack of experience and possibility of not being a QB1 for week 1 for the Roughnecks. McDonald's strong college career and limited pro experience does give him a leg up above the previous mentioned QBs. The combination of A.J. Smith at OC and dynamic Roughnecks offense could help all Houston quarterbacks become a top 4 passer in the XFL. A lot of people were surprised that Cole McDonald didn't make his way to Seattle with the Sea Dragons. Reed Sinnett, San Antonio Brahmas. If you followed Reed's career, you shouldn't be surprised that despite not only taking a regular snap or playing in alt leagues, he's ranked so high. Sinnett's only year as a starter at San Diego University put together a season that included 32 TDs, 3,528 yards, and only 10 picks. Despite being an undrafted free agent, Sinnett put together 2 solid preseason games, totaling 655 yards, 5 TDs, 2 picks. With Sinnett still developing, the more experienced, the better he'll become, and the XFL gives him that opportunity. A name we know a lot about, Brandon Silvers of Houston Roughnecks. While whether it's Silvers or McDonald, the Roughnecks QB will statistically be a top 5 passer at the end of the year. Some of you fantasy football and DFS nerds keep that in mind. Guys like on the Roughnecks, Seattle Sea Dragons, typically will probably be pretty good quarterbacks in the XFL based on who their offensive coordinator is. Silvers is one of the most underrated QBs in the spring league history since the inception of the XFL 1.0. Silvers has totaled 19 passing TDs, second all-time post-2000, 2023 passing yards, seventh all-time. Despite not playing in the USFL in 2022, look for him to continue to add those numbers and solidify himself in spring league lore in A.J. Smith's offense. So you can look at passing leaders of Luis Perez, Brooks Bollinger, Brandon Silvers, Tommy Maddox, P.J. Walker. Here is a list on XFL News Hub. Luis Perez, Vegas Vipers. A lot of people have been saying that maybe Perez has been leading the way with the Vegas Vipers QB situation. So Mr. Alt Football himself comes in at number 7. The consistent play of Perez over in the AAF, USFL, TSL, XFL 2.0 has given Perez a great reputation as a solid but not elite player. Perez has had several NFL stints. However, despite the opportunities, hasn't been able to stick around. While the NFL window seems to be closing, Perez has essentially morphed into Alt Football's Alex Smith and will consistently put up 185 to 225 passing yards with 1 or 2 touchdowns. Luis Perez sitting there. Ryan Willis, St. Louis Battlehawks, go Hokies. Willis burst on the scene after a rather pedestrian college career at KU and Virginia Tech. He did beat out Herndon Hooker at one point. His time in the 2021 Spring League allowed him to earn a championship and MVP honors as a member of the Linemen, which translated into a new short stint with the Bears in 2021. Willis may not be the Battlehawks QB1 for 2023, but his pedigree playing at the pro level jumps him into the top 6. Going on, Ben DiNucci seems to be a guy. DiNucci is another quarterback that joins the XFL with pro experience. DiNucci started 1 game for the Cowboys in 2020, but has played in 7 preseason games. DiNucci has improved in each year he's been in the NFL, and his spot start in 2020 to his preseason starts in 2021 and 2022. Look for DiNucci to continue to improve under the tutelage of June Jones, who helped P.J. Walker's career with the Roughnecks in 2020, and receiver Josh Gordon. Keep that in mind. Ben DiNucci to Josh Gordon. That could be a combo for your DFS nerds out there. A.J. McCarron, St. Louis Battlehawks. So McCarron is the most accomplished and experienced QB in the XFL 3.0 with 1,026 pass attempts in college, 174 attempts in the NFL. McCarron is primed to be a one and done in the XFL if he puts together is primed to be a one and done in the XFL if he puts together a solid season for the Battlehawks. McCarron's best days may be behind him, but the 3-time national champion has the ability to easily get back into the NFL with a solid performance in the XFL. McCarron, being an elder statesman with NFL playoff experience, also gives him a leg up like many of the younger QBs stepping into the league. Number 3, Kyle Sloter. He was an early MVP vote until he got a knee injury in the USFL. Is a regular season, despite not appearing in an NFL regular season game, Sloter is the second most experienced NFL vet on the list. Sloter started off hot in the USFL, yet injuries and fatigue may have factored in his late season fall off. Despite everything, Sloter was named the 2022 All-USFL team and put together a decent performance with the Jaguars in the Hall of Fame game in 2022. Sloter has been dubbed at times Mr. Preseason by many of his late game heroics, having often cemented himself on a roster spot for several teams. His preseason stats, 1,349 yards, 12 TDs, and 1 pick, demonstrates plenty of promise for the upcoming XFL season. Another player whose NFL window may be closing. Look for Sloter to give it all in 2023 for the Arlington Renegades. Brian Scott, Vegas Vipers. Here's the thing. So the Aaron Rodgers of D3, Scott is prime position to finally jump from the alt football to the XFL. Coupled with Martavis Bryant, Scott could easily cement himself as the premier passer for the XFL, but things didn't work out with the Vegas Vipers. The question now is, and he was good in the USFL, so we don't know what's going on with his slot. So clearly he's out the way. Maybe a guy like Paxton Lynch moves in. This list, maybe Sloter probably moves up to 2. And maybe throw Paxton Lynch there in the top 5. Clearly, this is way too early. And man, we should have made this video as soon as it happened, as soon as Pat wrote it, because Brian Scott, which shocked many of us, is now out of a team at this moment. But there are teams interested from the USFL. We have heard in Scott and potentially another landing place with the XFL. But I bet you, if I were a betting man, and I don't know this for certain, that he makes his way back to the USFL. Number 1 on the list, DC Defenders, America's team, a returnee from 2020's St. Louis Battlehawks, Jordan Ta'amu, is the top dog in the XFL 2023 to start out while running for his life with the Tampa Bay Bandits. Ta'amu still managed to put over 2,000 yards, led the USFL in TDs, 14 as well. Ta'amu's passing ability, coupled with his rushing ability, led the Bandits and top 10 in XFL in 2022, make him a prime candidate to be the top QB in the XFL this season. So some clothing thoughts. Expect these rankings to change throughout the season as teams constantly retool and readjust their rosters. With the XFL primed and ready to go, the majority of the QBs in this list have experience in the NFL preseason and other football leagues. The XFL is in a stable position to begin the league with solid QB play, giving fans an overall exciting product. So who do you think this list is right? Well, clearly we know Brian Scott is out, and that surprised all of us. I wouldn't know a single guy on XFL News Hub that thought Brian Scott would not be at least in the top 5 quarterbacks. But now apparently, other players are playing well. Could Luis Perez be the guy? We don't know. But what do you think of this list? A way too early XFL quarterback ranking. Get your comments in quick, because guess what? This list will probably be rewritten in the next week or two. So get your thoughts and put those names in the comments.